What up, y'all? It's your girl Sharonda, and I'm finally back with another video. And this is a topic that's very much so near and dear to my heart, and that's getting out of your head and getting into your body. This is something that I'm passionate about because since I quit my job after I had my son, I've learned so much about myself, and it was because I started to get more in my body. I started making sure that I stayed active more, started doing more things that I love to do, and I've noticed the difference in my mindset and just where I am. I'm able to really pick myself up better. I'm somebody who has dealt with depression since I was a kid, and I really vowed to myself that I'm not putting myself in a position to allow it to get so bad to the point where I can't pick myself up. So it's me acknowledging my feelings and acknowledging my emotions and allowing myself to, be honest with myself about how I'm feeling and giving myself grace and giving myself that that love. So, I'm not going off and spilling it into other people's lives, and I'm not even being consciously aware of it. And that's why I wanted to talk about this video, because first of all, you need to get out of your head, because every thought does not belong to you. And I was watching this video by Tarot by Bronx. They are a great astrologist. They do it just a lot within the spiritual realm. But they said something that really influenced me to make this video. And they said in the video, because they were talking about life design, I think they said, human design. And they were speaking about how manifesting generators, because I'm one of them woo bitches. I'm sorry to break it to you, okay? It is what it is. But they were saying how it's important to do things that excite us. And also something that really stood out was they said that if your mind was as smart as we think it is, you wouldn't have been in as many unfavorable situations if you had been. And have you ever noticed the times that you've went against your better judgment, when you've went against your intuition, which is your gut instinct? Because I feel like the gut is your first mind, for real, for real. You really end up messing yourself up for real, because you're not sticking true to yourself. You're not sticking true to your boundaries, and your mind exists in different realms. So you can't take everything your mind says into accountability. It can make up things that you don't even, that it doesn't necessarily need to see. Like, that's just, how the brain works. It's how the brain operates. Because, especially being in the dream realm, like, just having different dreams and different things, and things can get crazy. So it's just like, you can't go off of that all the time. But what matters is your body, the sensations you feel in your body, being able to identify what's wrong with your body. It's a lot. Like, I feel like society has disconnected us from ourselves and trying to force everybody to be alike, but they scream for people to be individuals. So it's like a very insidious thing that a lot of us don't know how to break out of, for the simple fact that, we're consistently on the hamster wheel. So we don't really have time to just breathe, kick back our shoes, and just be people. Like, most people work all these hours and brag about it and don't really have time for self, and then we make it seem like it's a bad thing. Like, hustle and grind culture is crazy, and I don't like it. Like, I'm in a space in my life, especially as a Black woman, I want to work smart, not hard. I've worked hard enough, and I feel like I don't have anything to really show for all the hard work that I've done. So now that I'm moving in a space of where I'm working smart, I'm doing so much more. I'm doing the things that I actually love to do. I'm finding ways to make money, because money isn't the root of my happiness for me anymore. Like, yes, I love nice things, okay? Don't get it twisted. I love money, but it's also an energy. And for me, like, having a peace of mind is the one of the most expensive things you can own, you can possess. And a lot of people don't have a mind. Like, people be wanting you to be enamored by the material things and the money and things in life. And like, the more I live a simple life, like, I'm in my backyard, like, just y'all hear the birds motherfucking chirping, the planes flying. Like, baby, this is my peace. I be getting up, I go on walks with my son, like, we just be exploring life. I just look at nature and just compare it to myself. Like, that's the type of time that I be on. Like, yes, I love material things, I love nice things just like anybody else, but the more I'm living a minimalistic lifestyle, the simpler I make my life, the better I feel, because my identity and my self-worth is not tied to all these material and worldly possessions. And in our head, we tell ourselves, like, we need all these things. Like, humans are the ones who created all of this bullshit that we feel like we have to keep up with. We're the ones who created this shit. And we keep feeding it, like I said, being on that hamster wheel, feeling like happiness is somewhere else. It's peace is somewhere else. Or, like, if, okay, I got this, now I got to get something else. Like, not even taking time to really appreciate your gifts and the things that you've done. And I found myself doing that as well. I've been having to slow down because, especially being somebody who feels like, especially as a black woman, like, you feel like you have to show so much, like, I've done this, I've accomplished this, I've accomplished this. And then, okay, you do one thing, and now it's like, okay, what's next? You do that. It's like, okay, what's next? When are you going to get off the hamster wheel and just start being present? I say all the time, you can't control the past. You only have the present, and the only way that you can even prepare for the future is if you consistently stay present, if you are aware of what you're doing. Because a lot of times we just be on autopilot, and our body be stuck in fight or flight mode. Like, stress is the number one killer amongst our people. Like, stress is at the state of most of these diseases that we have, that we suffering from, is because of capitalism. It's because of these systems that we consistently feed into. Like, you have to, at some point, you have to get off the hamster wheel. You have to get out of your head and get in your body. And that's why I be trying to get people to understand that logic is not enough. Like, you have to be able to take feelings. Like, it's important to be empathetic so you can understand and you can continue to receive your blessings. Because when we're not understanding, we don't even realize when we become the very things that we hate. And I found myself in that situation where I'm literally putting my foot in my mouth, because when they say be careful what you say and how you speak on other people's things and the things that other people have been through, because it could very well be you. The universe will make you eat your words. We can't say words ourselves, and then we putting that into the atmosphere and then get mad that we're getting that energy back. At the end of the day, what you get is what you give. The universe, I think Erykah Badu said something like, the universe is going to give you who you are. And once I realized that, I started moving better, like making sure that I'm showing up for myself so I can show up better for the people around me. And I can also know bullshit when I see it. Because for me, safety used to be one of those things that I used to run from because it was unfamiliar for me. And when you're stuck in fight or flight mode, the only thing that your body is saying to you is like, this feels like a threat. It's not a threat because it's new. But when your body is only focusing on keeping you alive, just trying to survive, you end up sabotaging certain things because you are so used to being a certain type of way or moving a certain type of way, so you don't really understand what this feels like. Like, this is what you want, but then all your triggers and your trauma start showing up when you do get what you ask for. That's why they say be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. You just might get it, and you might realize, I don't really want that. This isn't what I want, and that's okay too. And it's also being gentle with yourself and just realizing that everything may not work out how we want it to. It may not go according to our plan, but God's timing is always better than our own, always. Sometimes misdirection and it's redirection into something better. But I'm learning more as when I start sitting with myself, when I start really listening to myself and my body just being still. But understand, still water moves, because like I said, it's me meditating. And sometimes my meditation it's not just me sitting down and just sitting in one place. It's me getting out in nature, walking around, like sun gazing, just dancing. Like, that's meditation, that's healing, yoga, dancing. It's all intertwined. It's all Pilates, like all of it is intertwined, for real. And that's why I was like, as women, like, because a lot of women have started to suffer from PCOS more as of lately. It's due to the food that they're giving us, and also due to stress, because it's a hormone imbalance. So we are producing more cortisol than we are estrogen. So it's making you low-key more masculine when you're pushing yourself and pushing your body to this limit that you should not be pushing yourself to. That's why I implore all women and people in general to just work smart and not hard, because our bodies are not built for that. But again, the human body will adjust. It will evolve or devolve. It will do what it has to do to survive. It will do what it has to do to adapt. So it's changing to the dynamic, of what's going around, the circumstances of what's going on. Like, people always talk about how trauma changes you, but so does healing. Like, you can start healing yourself. Like, that's why I listen to healing frequencies. I get out. Like, I make sure that I'm getting my sunlight. Like, it's not, seasonal depression is real because the sun don't be out. It's not, natural to not be what God gave us. The earth already gave us. It's already here. So, like I said, I'm a witness. I'm a testimony to that. And like, I've had a lot of trauma that I've been going through and stress that I've been going through within the last year and a half. So like, a couple years ago, like, I got on my shit, I lost the weight, and then I went back into that stillness, that season. But I was being so gentle with myself. So yeah, I did put on some weight, but I still love myself and my body and where I was, and just understanding that this is just a phase. I did everything like that before, and I'm gonna do it again. But at this time, God need me to sit still and listen. I was still moving my body, but not as much. But now I'm in a position where I can do my workouts how I want to. It's heating up. I can do my workouts how I want to, doing my 2-a-days, really, getting myself back together. Like, I'm out of that season of needing to be comforted and needing myself, to sit still in that slow season, because we see this, the earth doing the same thing in the fall, in the wintertime. It's being still doing the work underground nonetheless, but it's being more still now that nature is blossoming. So am I. But I've learned that the more I get in my body, the more I know myself, the more I'm okay with standing firm in my boundaries and who I am, and just being able to really breathe and just really live my life with just getting out of my head. Like, it's not to say that my mind is useless at all, but when it's balanced. Like, when I keep my gut in sync, because mental health is tied to physical health. It's all one and the same. Your gut and your brain are supposed to be working together, and when your gut is in balance, your brain gonna be in balance, because you're not feeding your soul. You're not giving your body the nourishment that it needs. So it's just definitely important to make sure you're really loving on yourself and loving on your body, and being honest about you being like, do you know yourself? Do you know your body? Do you know what's going on in your body? Like, it's so important to know that, because sometimes we don't even realize how much of ourselves that we actually don't have, honestly. And I've had times when I've done yoga and I've been in a certain pose and I'm moving that energy up out of my body, because we hold so much trauma within our body, especially in our hips as women. And I felt the emotions come out. I couldn't even hold the tears back. Like, I had to like start crying, like but it just had to come out. But it's moving that energy, and that's what I've been doing lately, getting back to it. I feel some of the stuck energy that's been in me, but it was, like I said, it was just me processing and dealing with, having my time to actually process my grief. Because I had, when I first got back on my shit, it was after I had processed my grief of my grandfather passing and deciding to quit my job, and the reality of becoming an actual mother. Like, all of that was sinking in, but I didn't give up on myself, and I was just showing up for myself in different ways. And this time around, I didn't let myself fall into depression. I'm just like, it's okay to just be still, girl. You got it. You've done it before. You're going to be able to do it again. And because what I've learned is, when you're overly critical of yourself, you start being overly critical of other people, but you're trying to hold them to a standard that you don't even hold yourself. And that's why I be above, like, trying to hold people feet to the fire, because you'll get it one day in due time. And I don't, because I can read motherfuckers for filth. I just choose not to. Sometimes you just gotta know when to bow out and just worry about yourself. The more you worry about yourself, because while they focus on you, you focus on you. Focus on you. Focus on your body, because it allows you to show up for people in better ways. And like I said, you're also able to be aware of what is actually a threat, and when you just feel like it is. But as long as once you start figuring out who you are, you're going to know what feels like a threat to you. So get in your body and out of your head. In conclusion, like, I just really wanted to talk about that, because it's something that is so important. Like, we have so much trauma that's been passed down through generation, and we have the capability to change and heal, and they try to force us to feel like we just have to be stuck, promising us heaven or hell after life. But some people have their heaven on earth. So I wrote that in one of my when I was reading this book called The Four Agreements. Immunity to poison in the middle of hell. Like, you have to, when you start honoring yourself and you start sticking to your high ground, and you just start sticking to your morals and your beliefs, you start to develop a better relationship with yourself and the people around you, because how you love yourself is going to allow people to love you. It's going to show people how they should show up for you. So make sure that you're really loving on you, so you can cultivate the energy that you want, because God in the universe is going to give you who you are at the end of the day. Because you're not responsible for what you attract. You're attractive, but hey, you are responsible for what you entertain. So make sure you're entertaining the thought of healing yourself. You can do it. All right, I love y'all. I'm gonna try to get back. I ain't gonna make no promises, child, but you know, when I make a video, it's gonna be significant. I love y'all. Let's take a deep breath in. Yes, let it go. Let it go. Let it flow. Let it go. Let it flow. Yes, one more time. Well, I'm finna smoke my blunt and I'm finna drink my tea. Y'all be breezy. Love y'all.